What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to episode 34 of the Boochcast reviews Darkside of the Ring. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am joined by the one, the only, the broke soulless ginger, Mr. Zach Scott.
What's up, dude? That's just me, the broke soldier, Zach Scott. Jesus speak, I'm not that broke yet. And yes, we are doing Darkside of the Ring episode 34, Doink the Clown, aka Crush the Clown from The Simpsons.
Yes, which we're going to get into that a little bit later. And sorry if I'm taking long to get here. I had to turn on a ceiling fan and open up some stuff for my little friend over here, and unfortunately it makes it a son of a bitch to light the damn thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And I had to get my own lighter because Zach sucks at passing the lighter. You do. I have to keep signaling you to pass the fucking lighter. I'm tired of doing it. Yeah, so we are here today on Boochcast Reviews, Darkside of the Ring, to not only review a crazy episode, but answer a question that's been on the minds of wrestling fans for years. Mm-hmm. What happened to Doink the Clown? What happened to him? Nobody knew. He vanished. He disappeared.
It was never his own fucking fault.
Before putting on the clown suit, Matt Borne was a second-generation wrestler with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove.
Chip on his shoulder, is that what you call it?
Yes.
I think it's more of a fucking ego problem.
Yes.
Like me, I don't have an ego problem at all.
His father was Tough Tony Borne. But despite his success as one of the WWE's most iconic stars, Matt's bad decisions and bad habits would continue to haunt him. He was on drugs from oxys to steroids to cocaine to crack.
A wrestler on cocaine. Vinny, we never heard of that, have we?
Oh, God, you name a wrestler from the 80s, they did cocaine at least once. They may not have gotten addicted. Now, just to be clear, not every wrestler that did cocaine in the 80s got addicted. Some of them just fucking did it and then eventually stopped. Some did get hooked.
Yeah.
But then, of course, crack, that's another one.
Yeah.
And steroids, not surprising.
Not surprising at all.
Hell, we talked about the steroid trials a long time ago. It's about 4 episodes back. And here's a little thing about cocaine and crack that I didn't know before.
What?
Cocaine, traditionally, was considered a rich man's drug, and crack is considered a poor man's drug. That's why you notice when you see a lot of crack addicts, they're usually in poverty, except for the rarities like Jake the Snake. Like, he made a lot of money on crack. Now, a clown in the ring whose violent tendencies ran deeper than the grease paint, and in the end his tragic death would leave some still looking for answers.
Yeah, a lot of people blame this person, blame for a person for that. And we'll eventually get there, guys. And I looked at the court documents. Well, it looks like the way this poor man passed away, it was an accident. Oh, like OJ, didn't do it.
This is nothing like OJ.
No, it's not. Don't get butthurt.
Unless we want to say he didn't do it.
The glove didn't fit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's a saying, if the glove doesn't fit, it equals bullshit.
You swim with the fishes, you dead sons of bitches. So anyway, before becoming Doink the Clown, Matt Borne competed at the very first WrestleMania against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He was amazing in the match, and even though Ricky went over, Matt clearly impressed the crowd. And here's the thing, I did not know.
I didn't know that either.
That was Doink the Clown.
I didn't know that either.
I vaguely remember the first WrestleMania. And I'm sure at some point down the road, it will be a classic pay-per-view review.
Yes.
Maybe. I know I got a few on deck right now at the time that we're recording this. I got a few on deck. They're going to be coming out. But if Zach is willing to join, I might add that to the list.
Depends on which ones they are.
Well, like I said, now that Gator's no longer with the show, you know, the classic pay-per-view reviews, I'm either doing them by myself or with somebody who wants to join in. Since you're still part of the show, there's some you can jump in if you wish. You can make suggestions if you want.
WrestleMania 21 and 27.
Okay, I'll add those to the list then.
You know why 27?
Well, yes, because that was here in Atlanta.
We had that to get Jamie on that one as well.
Yeah, we'll throw some people in. Like I said, I got
Maria as well too. I think she'll probably want to join. Maybe even Steven.
Yeah, we'll throw some people in. Yeah. We'll see what we can do. We're not making any promises right now. But yeah, so I did not know he competed in the very first WrestleMania.
And then when I saw Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, I'm sorry. Am I stealing gimmicks?
I let it fly this one time.
Fair enough.
I'll let it fly this one time.
Oh, go ahead. Take one from me. Go ahead.
Very, very true, sir. Very, 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 very true, sir. Very, very true, sir. Very, 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 very
Okay,
true, sir.
okay, we get the point. Fucker, you. When I saw that person that you don't like, I started chuckling. Every time I see the dragon, diva, Simo, wherever it is, whatever we call him on here.
You can call him the dragon.
I call him the dragon.
I throw in diva because I have a personal thing with him, but you can still say dragon.
And I start to, I go like,
Exactly.
Isn't like,
I know.
dick.
I know. Like I said, I met the guy. I worked a show with him, and I saw nothing positive to like about him. But Matt did impress the crowd.
Yeah.
Now, from 1993 to 2004, he was married to Michelle James. They met after he got fired from WWE. So clearly she was not after him for his WWE money. By the time they met, he had already been fired from the company. And even though she thought wrestling was fake, he made it look real to her.
Don't say the fucking F word. Cabron? Okay.
Now we hug.
He did that perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah, and also, as soon as she said the F word, I was like, yeah, you motherfucker, but I'm gonna let this slide because in the end, what was her name?
Michelle.
I liked her.
Well,
I liked her. Like, she had to put up with a bunch of shit from this fucker.
Well, plus, here's the thing. Because she put up with that shit, and because she was married to him, I think we can give her a pass on the fake word. I think we can. I mean, look, when you're married to a wrestler, you're dealing with just as much drama as the wrestler themselves. Now, you're not taking as many bumps. You're not doing the physical pain. So you're not entitled to everything that belongs to them, Linda. But my point is, she's earned the right to say it. But she said she thought it was fake, but Matt made it look real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when she's saying it, she's not really insulting the business.
Yeah.
And now that she's lived through this, I doubt she refers to wrestling as fake to anyone. Once you get in the business in some way, shape, or form, you realize it's more real than you think.
Yeah, it is.
Mick Foley,
a.k.a. Cactus Jack, a.k.a. Mankind, hanging on a doula,
actually was inspired by Matt Borne. Not only because he was a great worker, but because Matt knew how to inhabit a character and make the fans believe in it.
I can see that. I can see that way he does his characters with Mankind and Cactus Jack. He just goes from Mankind, totally two different characters, all as well as do love.
Ow! Have mercy! The thing is with Mick Foley was, the reason those three gimmicks worked is because he acted like a different person in each gimmick. Mankind had a certain level of behavior. Cactus Jack had a level of behavior. Dude Love had a level of behavior. When he inhabited those characters, he remained that character. He didn't blend them all together or mismatch it or anything like that. He worked different. He cut promos different. Yeah. He walked to the ring different.
Different music,
everything. And it also helped that the person in the ring sold it. And I'll tell this story.
Triple H.
The Triple H thing, yeah. This is in 2000, when Mankind and Triple H were gonna have a street fight at the Royal Rumble, and Mankind said, "I realize after all the beatings you've given me, I'm in no condition to face you in a street fight at the Royal Rumble." So it looks like Mick Foley's gonna forfeit the match. He goes, "But the fans deserve a substitute in that match, and I think you know the guy." And he rips the Mankind mask off. Then he starts walking to the ring. Then he rips off the shirt and the tie to show the Cactus Jack T-shirt.
With the yellow.
The black and with the yellow wine poster and everything, which I actually have that in my room. It's autographed by Mick Foley. And Triple H has that look on his face, like what the fuck? And Mankind goes, "And I think you know him pretty damn well. His name is Cactus Jack.
Am I here to kick your teeth all over of the city of Chicago?"
Yeah, his first official act as part of the WWF is to do that. And then he gets in the ring, and you know what happens? Triple H sells for Cactus Jack, gets the ass whooping, a phony Mankind that was in the ring that Triple H was fucking with.
Yeah.
Tries to come after him. Cactus Jack takes him out. He's more brutal, he's more violent, he's more hardcore.
Try to hit him with a chair, he just goes, kind of like in those movies.
He sits up and just turns around.
Kind of like in movies with the good guy tries to punch the guy, he's 10 times, decides, kind of like in The Punisher. You ever seen The Punisher? The original with Kevin Nash?
Yes.
The dude hit him, and he just goes, he goes, fuck.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. The only difference is the good guy's the one no selling.
Yeah, that's
so, and then all that brutality, but Triple H sold it as, because if Triple H had smiled or laughed or didn't do anything, it would have killed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Triple H could have fucked that whole thing up. But because he sold it like, oh shit, they're different people, it sold it, made it work.
Yeah.
So Matt Borne inhabited the character, and that's a key thing we're going to be talking about throughout this episode here. Because one of the things people always talk about is somebody getting buried in a gimmick. Or this gimmick is dumb. This gimmick is shit. This gimmick doesn't work. Here's the harsh reality. There are some rare cases where that is true. But here's the thing that people don't tell you. You, in the character, can get it over if you commit to the character. And the reason Matt Borne killed it as Doink is because of the commitment to Doink. He committed to this character and made you believe in it. And we always go back to the one gimmick, The Undertaker. Why did The Undertaker work?
Because it was a good gimmick.
No, that's not why. That gimmick, on paper, that is the dumbest fucking gimmick ever. A man who takes your soul, can make lightning fall from the sky, rest in peace. On paper, The Undertaker's gimmick is the most retarded gimmick in wrestling. It's dumb as fuck. It makes no sense. But do you know why it worked? Mark Calloway made it work. Mark Calloway, the real name of The Undertaker, was someone on the regular guys one time tried to fuck with me and thought I didn't know the answer. He committed to that role and made you believe in it. The way he walked to the ring, his facial expressions, when he finally did cut promos, the way he cut them, the rest in peace, the Undertaker will rise once more. Like, the way he delivered it sent the chills up your spine. Like, people bitch about Terry Taylor and the Red Rooster. That gimmick would have worked if he committed to it, but he half-assed it. Because the whole reason they gave him that gimmick was because they thought he was like a cocky rooster. Because Terry Taylor was very arrogant when he was younger. He thought he was the next Ric Flair. And plus the way he walked, he strutted like a rooster already. So they wanted to make him the Red Rooster. They actually nicknamed him the Cock of the Walk. They were going to call him the Cock of the Walk. We're going to call him the fucking Rooster. Because the Rooster wakes everyone up in the morning. Fucks all the chicks in the hen house. Does whatever he wants because he can.
True.
If he had embraced the gimmick that way, hell yeah, it would have got over. But he kept doing the crowing thing, which was his idea, because he didn't get it. Now, there are some gimmicks like the Goon and Bastion Booger and Mantar that sucked. And they had other gimmicks like Duke the Dumpster DeRossi, and who came out like a garbage man, and the Repo Man. You know, and all. There was a lot of goofy, fucked up gimmicks. Some of them worked, some of them didn't.
Brooklyn Brawler,
well, that worked because he had staying power. But also, they committed to the character. That's the secret. If you make people believe, the crowd will believe. And if they give you a gimmick and you get over with that gimmick, guess what? They're more likely to push you because it's their creation. And here's the thing. If you give everything you got to the gimmick and the gimmick doesn't get over, guess what? They get to say, okay, we fucked up. Because you gave it everything you had and it didn't work, so clearly the gimmick is a problem. But if you're half-assing it, you give them an excuse to say, well, if you just committed to it, it would have fucking worked. So that's why, if you're given a gimmick in wrestling, run with it. Give it everything you got, and if after everything you got, it just simply doesn't get over, and they clearly see you're trying, then eventually they'll go, all right, let's figure something else out, and maybe give you some input. And eventually you can go with it. But sometimes, that's a problem. A lot of people today don't trust the process. And like I said, there's a lot of trial and error with the process. Now, Matt grew up living with his dad after his parents got divorced when he was 10. When they split up, his mom said, you go with your dad because I don't want that little bastard.
That had to hurt.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
That's mean. Fuck you.
I mean,
But she wasn't mentioned any time else during the whole bit. She was not mentioned. His mother was not. We don't even know her name.
Exactly.
The birth giver.
The birth giver, yes.
Yeah, courtesy of South Park.
Yes. Oh, you mean the birth givers? They're not around. And notice it's the mom saying that.
Yeah, not the dad. It's usually vice versa.
Yeah. So
Not
much
this
for that.
time.
So much for that. A mom has natural nurturing instincts. Not this fucking bitch, apparently. Matt Borne was a great worker who sold differently and was in constant motion. He came from an era where you laid it in and made people believe.
Yeah.
Now, for y'all that don't know, lay it in means actually working stiff. Now, you're not trying to kill the person, but you're hitting them a little bit. Like, laying it in is like, you know, I'm not throwing a working punch. It's going to sting a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's called working stiff. Like, your jaw's not broken, but you feeling it a little bit. Like, okay. You're working a little snug. They call it snug, stiff.
Snug. I hear you.
Different words.
I used to hear you guys say that all the time.
Well, yeah, that's when someone's really laying the hits in.
Yeah.
But it's mutually agreed upon. Like, I'm going to lay it in on you, but you also going to lay it in on me.
Yeah.
And that's so the crowd believes it. Now, usually in wrestling, when you lay it in, it's usually if you're fighting on the floor or out in the crowd, that's usually when you lay it in. When you're in the ring, you can throw working punches because you're far away from the crowd. So they can't really see it in the audience. Now on TV, you might be able to catch it because we've seen some people whose punches aren't really great. But you can lay them in. But when you're out on the floor, you lay them in because they're right there with you. And it's mutually agreed upon in advance. So you know the person's going to be snug. They're not blindsiding you. He learned most of the business from his dad, who was proud of him.
And you can definitely see that Tony Borne loved his son, did he not?
Yes.
Yeah, he was like you got trained by your son, why not get trained by your dad? And I saw the dude in the ring, and like, yeah, before he became Doink the Clown, the territories, and I was like, damn, dude, get the fucker can move. Yeah. He's a decent worker. Unlike some people who can't stay off the top rope. AEW. What? It's true.
So that's another thing you need to bear in mind here, is that we have a wrestler in the business whose father loved him.
Shocker.
It is a shocker.
Wow.
Now, Zach's saying this with a sarcastic tone, but this is real shit.
I know.
This is real shit. Like, how often do you see somebody in the wrestling business whose father was proud and loved them? Not often.
Not often.
This is rare. Now, after establishing himself in Portland, Matt begins a tour of the territories that make up the wrestling world. Building a name and reputation across the country, he went to Texas and the Carolinas and Mid-South and got over in all of them. So to get over in all those territories, you're somebody.
Yeah.
You know what the fuck you're doing. Now, Mid-South was a snake pit of tough guys. And it was also where six-man tag matches were popular.
Oh, yeah.
So you saw a lot of six-man tags.
This is where we come across the Rat Pack.
Exactly.
Jim Duggan.
Yeah, so basically Matt Borne got put in a three-man team with Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hey-oh! Sorry, I had to.
It's ho! Yeah, and Bill Watts was the one who put them in this team. So Matt Borne was traveling with the $1 Million Man and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who both were in there.
Just imagine all the crazy ass shit those three had to be.
Oh yeah, because Ted wasn't saved yet.
Saved.
No, Ted really did become a pastor and a born again Christian and all that shit.
So did Hulk Hogan. Well, not a pastor, but he became a born again Christian. So.
Now they were called the Rat Pack, as Zach mentioned, and they were kick butt heels. So they're heels in this. They were heel tag butt. They were heels that beat the shit out of people.
Okay.
Like there's different types of heels. There's the heels who are badass and beat the shit out of everybody. There's also the chicken shit heels. Those are the ones that back down a lot in fights, or like they'll beat somebody up, and if baby faces come out, they roll out of the ring and retreat and run for their lives, or they're like no please, no, don't hurt me, and then they'll like poke you in the eye. That's a chicken shit heel.
Flair was good at doing.
Flair was the master of begging. No one begged better than the Nature Boy.
But there's also Shawn Michaels selling as well. Basically, people ask, when you get hit, what are you supposed to do? Act drunk and fall. That's exactly what I was like, what am I supposed to do? Act drunk. I was like, okay, I can do that. And then you start like, yeah, flop.
Now, well, speaking of being drunk, Matt once got into a bar fight with Brian Blair. He went up to him and said, "Why are you messing with my girl?" Brian said, "I'm not messing with your girl, Matt. I don't even have a girlfriend here." He then turns to walk away, and Matt clubs him in the back. He goes to suplex him, and Brian turns in midair and lands on top of him. Matt grabs Brian's ears and starts pulling his head down and goes to bite his nose. Brian then bites his bottom lip off and spits it across the room. Brian goes to leave, and Matt attacks him again. So this time, Brian beats the fuck out of him. Matt then jumps back on him, and Brian goes to drag him towards the door, and Matt hooks Brian's right leg, and he falls forward. Matt goes for his eyeball, and Ivan Koloff then kicks Matt off of Brian and says, "No eyes."
I guess he saved the day.
That's the funny part. He was cool with everything else. Like fucking clubbing him in the back, bite his nose, biting off the bottom lip, spitting it across the room. All this is completely okay. But Ivan's like, "No eyes.
No eyes.
No eyes.
No eyes."
Like, what the fuck?
Jesus, and this is not the first time this guy did this shit, too. It's like, dude, seriously, you can't go to the bar without drinking into a fight. And Vinny's shocked how many times I've been drunk at a bar, but I've never been to a fight because I don't
No. But that actually reminded me of Anchorman where they go, "No touching of the hair or face." And Ben Stow's like, "Of course." Now, Matt's violent behavior outside the ring is already causing problems with his coworkers. But an incident at ringside will bring his time in the Rat Pack to an end.
Yeah,
In Monroe, Louisiana, after a match, Jim Duggan is walking to the back and a fan punches Jim in the face.
Can I say something? One rule in the professional wrestling world, or any fucking sport, you don't jump the guardrail. Okay, you say you weigh 145 pounds. You really gonna try to go hit somebody who's 3 times your size? No.
Well, that's the thing. Most fans, when they jump the guardrail, they have 1 or 2 thoughts running through their head. One, I hate this motherfucker, whoever it is. Well, actually, there's 3. Let me take that. There's 3. So 1 is, I hate this motherfucker, whoever it is.
1.
2, I want to be on TV. Or 3, this is all fake and I can whoop their ass. That's usually the mentality of people who jump the guardrail.
Yeah, you want to be
because
on
they don't
TV,
think they're real tough guys.
Facebook and Twitter's like, dumbass jumps the guardrail. Twitter, dumbass, hashtag dumbass jumps the guardrail. Seriously?
Yeah, they jump the guardrail and get the shit beat out of them, and they don't know why. So this guy punches Jim in the face. Jim responds by popping the guy right back. So Jim punches him. Now, the fan hits the floor. So after he pops him, he's dead, he's done, he's out. For the count. So Jim walks to the back. But then Matt puts a boot to the face and broke his right front orbital bone. He kicked him so hard his eyeball fell out. The fans sued the company, and as a result, the company fired Matt Borne. Duggan was kept, which started the heat between the two. So now this is where Matt Borne and Jim Duggan now have heat. Because Matt's like, "Why was I fired and Jim wasn't fired?"
Dude, we understand Jim Duggan's fucking point, but the dude was down and you kicked the dude. That's like basically beating. Once the drunk guy's knocked down, you keep on beating the dude. He's done. Stop.
That's
You
it.
win. You won. You won that fight. And security guards, hopefully they were there to give what they were paid for, and make sure this does not happen.
Well, security, I'm sure security would have eventually came and picked the guy up and got him out of there. But the reason was because Matt Borne, like we said, he was already done.
Mm-hmm.
The guy punched me, I punched him back, he's unconscious. It's done.
But
like once the guy is knocked out, that's why in boxing, when the guy's knocked out, the 10, you're out.
mm-hmm.
Or now in the UFC, as we've mentioned on Darkside of the 90s.
Yeah.
They instituted that new policy where the referee can stop the fight if the guy's knocked out. Because once the guy's knocked out, he can no longer defend himself. And once you're in a position where you cannot defend yourself, if you get attacked, you have now broken the law. Even if you're in the right, you're wrong in that moment because you took it too far. That's no longer self-defense.
No, that's not.
So there was no reason to kick that dude in the eye.
No, there wasn't.
Now, let's say Jim popped him back and the guy grabbed Jim Duggan, took him to the ground, and was wailing on Jim, and Jim's trying to get him off. And Matt Borne came over and kicked him. Then that would have been okay.
Yes.
Because he would have been helping Jim. But because the guy was already knocked out, yes, Matt Borne was in the wrong. The reason Duggan was kept was because Duggan was in the right. The guy hit me. I hit him back. He was knocked out. What did you do? I left. Done and done. Done and done.
Done and done.
It is now security's responsibility. Pick up this piece of trash and get him the fuck out of our building. Though Matt leaves Mid-South under a cloud, his talent and connections land him a job with the World Wrestling Federation. But less than a year into his contract, he's fired once again. This time for drug use.
Shocker.
He'd start his days smoking weed. He would later take pills, and then drink, and then snort cocaine. Now, obviously, the cocaine was going to get him fired.
Yeah.
Drinking, not so much, because drinking was not against the law. The pills, you can somewhat get away with that in the 80s, because prescription meds were not an issue at the time.
No,
I mean, they were an issue, but they weren't like a federal issue.
No.
And the weed, even though today we know weed is legal almost everywhere, back then weed was still frowned upon.
Yeah.
It was still considered a drug. They still put it in the same category as cocaine and crack and all that shit. Like, weed was still considered inappropriate. In fact, the state we live in, it's still considered inappropriate. You know, you gotta,
Bullshit.
it's just now you don't get in as much trouble for it,
Really don't.
but still you can get in trouble. In spite of the setback, Matt lands on his feet again as he's hired by Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling and given a gimmick inspired by his Northwest roots. A lumberjack named Big Josh.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this on one of the old WCW Classic pay-per-views. I want to say it was the Battle Bowl 93.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, or if it wasn't Battle Bowl 93, it was one of the 93 ones. I can't remember quite which one, but I remember Big Josh was in it.
Yeah.
And it might have been Halloween Havoc 93, maybe. I don't fucking remember. But I remember seeing Big Josh and I went, holy shit, that's Matt Borne?
Mm.
And damn, he could work.
Yeah.
I liked Big Josh.
I like Big Josh. I like him a little bit. I hate to say it. I like Big Josh better than I like Doink the Clown.
Really?
Yeah. Not a fan of clowns. You know this.
Oh, yeah. Zach is a widow scared of the clowns.
I'm the third right now.
Yes.
Or snakes.
Yes.
But you think you agree with me on that part.
Snakes are worse than
Yeah.
clowns. He was married to Maria Stanley from 1991 to 1993. So this is the first wife.
Yeah.
Michelle ends up being the second wife. He met her while he was in WCW. Saw her in the crowd and had the security guard bring her backstage. Eventually, she quit her job and moved to be with him because they both wanted to get married and start a family. He made it to the hospital just in time to see his daughter being born. So he was there for the birth of his daughter. So again, this is one of those scenarios where he was a good father at this point, and he took being a husband and a father seriously in the beginning. So he might have been a shitty parent later. I'll have to remember as we're reading through this. But at this moment, he's devoted to his family. Sometime after he gets an offer from Vince McMahon to come back to the WWE. With a second chance at WWE, Matt lands yet another opportunity to reinvent himself. This time, he becomes Doink the Clown. So it's during this second run that he gets Doink the Clown. And it was inspired by seeing Matt in the locker room, smoking a cigarette after his match, with his boot half unlaced, his hair all in a mess, he's sweating, and Hawk, Road Warrior Hawk, said, "We've got our own Krusty over there." So this is based off of Krusty the Clown. Hey kids, it's story time! So they're basing off of Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons. He was an evil, happy clown that scared kids. Where have we seen that before? Hiya, Georgie. But his in-ring skill wasn't diminished, and that helped to get him over. So again, you can have the silliest gimmick in the world, but as long as you bring it when the bell rings, it overrules whatever goofy shit you're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's the thing. When the bell rang, he could still work.
Yeah.
And he still put on great matches as Doink.
Yeah, he did.
So he killed it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
He was able to pull it off because he committed 100% to the character, as I mentioned before. The commitment works. That every great character you've ever seen in wrestling, in movies, in TV, the reason they worked is because the person committed to the role. That's the key. Because if you commit to it, if it becomes a part of you, you believe in it, they believe in it. As long as he was laughing, that's all that mattered. He would beat your ass and it would be funny to him. He would beat up his opponents, and then start laughing like a crazed maniac.
Yeah.
And he would cut these promos where he would be dark and sinister, and then laugh at the end.
Like I said, it's Doink the Clown's evil twin brother.
Yes. WrestleMania 9 was his biggest moment, where he wrestled Crush, and they brought out another Doink the Clown.
Oh, yeah.
And they beat him up and then do the mirror spot.
Yeah. That was cool right there. That was actually, They sold that fucking perfectly. Right?
He didn't understand why Vince wanted to do that and felt like he was being set up for failure. So now this is where, again, the wrestlers get paranoid and feel like Vince is trying to fuck with their gimmick.
Yeah, I hear you.
As Doink the Clown rules the WrestleMania ring, the inner struggles of Matt Borne will soon bring his turn in the spotlight to an end, even as Doink lives on. As Matt Borne enjoys the highest levels of wrestling fame, his demons threaten to destroy everything he's worked to create. He will be gone for days on a bender. He eventually fails a drug test and gets fired by the WWE.
Again.
Yes.
Is that the third time or is this the second time?
Second time he's been fired from WWE. Because he didn't get fired from WCW, if I recall.
I don't think so either.
He did get fired from Mid-South.
Yes.
Now, Matt eventually became abusive to his family. So now this is where he's becoming a shitty family man. He threw lit cigarettes at his wife and pulled her out of a chair while she was holding their daughter in her arms, as she was only a few months old, and the baby went flying. And that's when Maria finally left him. Yep. That's it.
Yep.
I don't blame her.
I don't blame her.
Well, yeah, and then she pecked him late. Because I'm going to say this. It's one thing to be abusive to your wife. That's bad enough. But when the daughter's getting hurt, now you got a problem.
Well, there's several times in both our lives that we wanted to smack a bitch, but when we know deep down, like, nah, we're not allowed to do that.
Well, it's not even that. It's that, here's the thing about me. Even if I wanted to smack a bitch, even if I was justified in smacking a bitch, I'm not going to smack the bitch while she's holding a baby in her hand.
Yeah, no.
I'm at least going to wait till she puts the baby down before I do anything. That, which, by the way, for the record, I'm not slapping anybody right now. You know, I'm just saying, even if my wife made me angry to the point where I wanted to hit her, I would not do it with a baby in her hand. I would just yell and scream and cuss at her, because the baby's not going to remember that shit, and walk away if I was that angry. I would not strike my wife while she's holding a child, and I would only strike my wife if she struck me first.
Yeah,
if she swings on me, then I'm swinging.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm keeping my hands to myself. Unless we're in the bedroom and getting a little smack on the ass. He had $1 million home being built, and they had just moved into it.
Now they can't have it.
Yeah, he also had a bathtub engraved with 18 karat gold, and it said Doink on it.
That's overdue now. You think?
Well, yeah. When you're making millions of dollars, you do dumb shit like that.
Say I have $1 million at my house is gated, I'm gonna have a giant Z.
Exactly.
Or a giant R, you know what I'm saying? Right? Or a giant Georgia Bulldog G right there.
Yeah.
I would you'd be like, of course.
I say go with the Z.
I'll go with the Z, yeah.
The Bulldog thing just looks stupid.
Fuck you.
No, it does, because people are going to think a Georgia Bulldog lives there, and they're going to find out you're not a player, you're just a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.
Fuck you.
He stayed up for 8 days straight and did nonstop coke and started hallucinating because he couldn't believe he lost everything he just gained.
Sideways, longest I ever stood up was 4 days. 4 days. After that, I understand. That 8 days before that, you started hallucinating. Shit's like, okay, it's time to go to bed and put down the drugs.
Longest I ever stayed up was maybe a day.
Yeah, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
Back maybe now, fuck no. In our 20s, maybe, but now it's like, yeah, I'm going to sleep.
Though Matt Borne has been fired, the character of Doink the Clown makes his return at the very next show. Only this time there's another wrestler under the grease paint. Normally, gimmicks can't be replaced, but they felt since the gimmick was a clown, they could just put someone else in the makeup.
I don't know about that.
And that's the thing. A lot of times they feel like, well, I can get anybody to play this gimmick. I can get anyone to play this gimmick. And a lot of times, you can't. That's what people don't get. When someone does well with a gimmick, you can't just replace it.
Ooh, prime example is when Pretty Deadly, this is about a year ago. They went against the Rockers. It wasn't Shawn Michaels and yes, Marty Jannetty. Okay, I was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
Wait, Pretty Deadly?
yeah, it was Pretty Deadly going against the Rockers, but it wasn't the Rockers.
They had two guys dressed as Sean.
Yeah, Sean is Matt, and you and I went the fuck up. Even though it's Marty's Men, the Rockers are still one of the greatest tag teams of all fucking time.
Yeah.
And you and I were pissed. I was like, and you go full fucking get it. The business. You and I were pissed, but really, Dave.
I don't remember.
No,
I swear to God. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I seriously don't remember
like,
this.
We seriously, I heard the music, and you said, Zach, you remember the music? I was like, this is bullshit. This is, ooh, I was mad.
I was wishing Sean and Marty could have came out and just. So look, I'm not saying they could have had a match, but I'm saying if Marty could have came out, they could have did some of their moves.
The other two people what were their names, Vinny?
Their names are Steve Keim and Ray Apollo. Steve Keim and Ray Apollo each portrayed Doink the Clown. And even though they did a good job, they were never as good as Matt. Steve was the guy that worked with Matt at WrestleMania 9. So Steve Keim was the guy in the other Doink outfit that they did the mirroring with. They felt like since he was able to copy Matt so well with the psychology and the movements, they thought, oh, maybe we can put him in there. But there's one eensy-weensy but ever so significant little tiny detail.
And what is that detail, sir?
Eventually they have to cut promos. And if you can't cut a promo like Matt Borne, you're fucked. You're fucked. You're fucked.
Fucked. You're fucked up the ass with no lube.
Exactly. That was never going to go well.
No, it was not.
That was a horrible idea. Because that's the thing. It's not the gimmick. It's the person portraying it that makes it work. That's like if Mark Calloway had left and we're like, we're going to make somebody else the Undertaker. That wouldn't have worked.
No, or somebody else.
There's only one other person you could have done it.
Who?
Glenn Jacobs. But that's assuming he stopped being Kane. They later brought in Dink, who was a midget clown.
Well, didn't you and Gabe talk about a match where it was Doink and Dink going against, fuck, who was it?
It was Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna Vachon.
Yep, that's it. And I was like, you making Dink the Clown go against Luna Vachon? But you and Gabe said it worked. So.
Well, here's why it worked. Because obviously, they couldn't have the men wrestle the women in mixed tag matches. Not, at least not to the Attitude Era. But because Dink was a midget, it was seen as, a woman can wrestle a midget.
Yeah.
And the reason it worked was because the psychology was there.
Yeah, that's what
like Luna, anytime Luna got offense on Dink, she beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah, that was one scary fucking bitch.
There was times where she would dive at him and she would miss, and Dink would maybe smack her on the ass or do some things to taunt her.
I've seen the clips. She makes you chuckle.
And it worked because Luna and Bam Bam were the heels.
Yeah.
So a heel, and this is what people forget, a heel is allowed to look stupid in the ring. Mm-hmm. A baby face is not. That's the difference. If you're a heel, you can get away with anything. You can
win. Baby faces win clean.
Not necessarily that, depending on the circumstance. I'm saying that a babyface's job is to try to win, not lose. Yeah. A heel can do whatever he or she wants. Yeah. You can beg, you can plead, you can do all that. A heel is fine because you're the bad guy. So if the good guy is making you cower in the corner, you're good. But if you're a babyface and you cower in the corner, you're a pussy. Mm-hmm. The only time a babyface is supposed to show any concern is if someone's in jeopardy. Like, for example, let's say you have the babyface's wife, and you're going to beat the shit out of her. The babyface can go, no, please, don't hurt my wife. Mm-hmm. Don't hurt my wife. I'll give you anything you want. Just don't hurt her. Because you're scared for your wife's life. Mm-hmm. I want my title shot. Fine. I'll give you the title shot. Just let her go. Just let her go and you can have the title shot. And then, boom. And then sometimes they would beat up the wife anyway, and that's when the guy would get in the ring, check on his wife, and be angry, and basically now I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, that scenario. So because Luna was a heel, she was allowed to look embarrassing and stupid.
Yeah.
And eventually she did get offense, so it's not like they made her look stupid the entire match.
I just realized all those three main wrestlers are all dead.
Yeah.
Bam Bam, Luna, and Matt.
They're all gone.
Is Dink still alive?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. And with all the circumstances, guess what? All three of them have their own Darkside episodes.
What a small world.
Yeah, we're doing Doink right now. Mm-hmm. We did Luna Vachon a few weeks back, and
I did all three of you, didn't I? I did Doink, Bam Bam, and Luna Vachon. Wow.
Because we got Bam Bam coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and for the sounds like Bam Bam did not ever want to go over for Doink the Clown, and Bam Bam snitched on the man for smoking weed. It's like, you motherfucker, you.
Yeah. Now, the character was a mainstay and fans had no idea that Matt was gone from WWE. So that's the thing. They were able to trick people into thinking that this was Matt Borne's version of Doink the Clown. Yeah. Like, you're watching Doink the Clown in this ring, you have no idea that Matt Borne is gone. He's not here. That's not Matt Borne in the ring. That's not the real Doink the Clown. This is a poser. This is an imposter.
Phony. He's a big fat phony. Look, everybody. He's a big fat phony. What do you think of the guy?
He's phony. He's phony. Leave him alone. So anyway, he later moved to Elwood City and got a job working as a telemarketer. Mm-hmm. Matt Borne's a telemarketer. He went from being a millionaire to working paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Your fault, dude.
The drug problem was still there, but he didn't do drugs in front of Michelle. So by this point, he's married to Michelle. Okay. He's working as a telemarketer because he can't get a job anywhere else. He also paid the rent, paid the bills, didn't want her working or socializing because he didn't want other men checking her out. Mm. Okay.
Yeah, he's a little bit of the jelly.
No, that's possessive and toxic.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true.
Well, here's the thing. And this is where it's very difficult, and I've learned this from personal experiences that I've had in the business. Mm-hmm. If you're dealing with somebody who has a drug problem, but they're paying the bills, they're paying the rent, and everything's organized and everything's good, yeah, it's hard to convince them they have a problem and they need to get help. It's almost impossible. That's why they always say that for an addict to realize they have a problem, they have to hit bottom. You got to hit bottom, rock bottom, and you got to realize, I can't do this anymore. Now, you would think going from being a millionaire to working paycheck to paycheck would be the fucking rock bottom.
Apparently not.
Nope, not yet.
Not even close.
So, the bills are paid, everything else. Now, as far as not wanting her to work or socialize, okay. Here's how I look at this. Obviously, in the 90s, you could survive on a one-income household. Good fucking luck in 2024 surviving on a one-income household.
Not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. You need at least two. Like, that's why one of the jokes in Married with Children, when Peggy talked to Al, she talked about that most families have a two-income household nowadays. Mm-hmm. So she said, Al, you know, most families are now living on a two-income household. So you need to go get a second job. Basically telling him, go work two jobs so I can sit home. That's like, you fucking bitch. And Al's looking at her like, no. Either you can go to work or you can shut the fuck up. Like, it's the saddest thing I've ever seen. But I'm going to say this, though. If you tell somebody, and I said this during the pandemic, yeah, when the government shut everything down and was telling people not to go to work and shit. Yeah. That was why I was okay during that time with stimulus checks and people sending money to sit at home. Because if you're telling me not to go to work, if you're the type of person telling me, Vinny, you need to quit your job. You need to not work anymore. I don't want you going to work. Then I expect you to pay all of my bills. I would say that to anybody. Or if you're in the wrestling business and you're one of those people on the indies that's like, I want people to work exclusively for me, then you better be financially taking care of those people. Otherwise, free them up to go work, asshole. So, yep. I'm just saying, like, don't tell somebody not to go to work unless you're willing to pay all their bills. Yeah, so if he's willing to pay all the bills, okay. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. If you're telling me not to work, I expect you to give me money. Now, if you're not going to give me money, then let me go make my money. Now, I'm not going to sit here broke because you got some toxic controlling issue. Mm-hmm. Now, socializing, didn't want other men checking her out. Okay, look. First of all, if you don't trust a bitch to not cheat on you if she's around other men, that's not a woman you want to be married to. First of all. Second of all, I'm going to say this to men and women. Both. Both y'all need to learn this shit. Here's a harsh reality of life. If you have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend, if you got a wife, you got a husband, people are going to check them out. If men see a hot girl, they're going to flirt with her. Women see a hot guy, they going to flirt with him. Especially if he got money. Just wearing a wedding ring is not strong enough to make these bitches or these jackasses go away. So if I got a girlfriend or a wife, I don't care if guys check her out. All I care about is this. How does my woman react to it? Is my concern. Now, if you playfully flirt back and then walk away, I'm cool with that. You know, be polite. You don't got to be rude. Be polite. Do a little harmless flirting and walk away. Defuse the situation, walk away. Now, if you sitting there and just letting guys grope on you, touch on you, and all that shit, I got a problem. Mm-hmm. And if you letting these guys fuck you, I got a problem. Once it gets to that point, then I'm stepping in. And I will say this to women too. If you see a woman flirting with your man, and he's clearly trying to get away, but this girl don't want to leave, because here's the thing. Here's another harsh reality of life. Women have a way of getting out of a situation like this that men do not have, unfortunately. Usually if a guy's being touchy, grabby, flirty, disrespectful, you can slap him in the face, throw a drink in his face, do something, and somehow that's socially acceptable. If a man tried to do that, we're the asshole who hit the girl. Mm-hmm. So that's why a lot of times you see guys going, yeah, thank you, no matter what, getting out of there, and you get mad at the guy. You don't. You step in, and you make that woman leave. That's what you do. You come in, and you be like, hi, how are you? Hi, Cheryl, I'm Vinny's wife. Nice to meet you.
Oh, shit.
And that's but you're saying that, yeah, but your facial expression, your signal is, bitch, back off my man before I kill you. That's your job as the woman. You make this woman go away.
Go away. Shoe fly, don't bother me. Shoe fly, don't bother me.
Exactly.
I want to keep my kids in my shed.
That's what I'm saying. But sometimes the guy is trying to make the girl go away. Some women are not going to go away. Because like they said before, a wedding ring is not strong enough to make a woman with determination go away. They don't believe in marriage. They believe their pussy is stronger than any ring. Okay? So you, as the woman, got to make that woman go away. Because I'm at a point now where I don't care. I would probably throw the drink in the face and smack the bitch, because I'd rather be the guy who smacked the bitch than the guy who gets divorced because a woman wouldn't leave me alone. Mm. Like, yeah, you may call me an asshole, you may call me a monster, but guess what? Mm. At least my wife knows I ain't cheating.
There you go.
And I'm more scared of losing money from my wife than losing money from a job. Because I can get another job and make money again. I can't stop paying alimony to this raggedy bitch who thought I was cheating on her. That's a fate worse than death.
That is very true.
A fate worse than death. So that's just ridiculous to me. One night at a bar, her ex-boyfriend ended up walking in and came up and spit on her. Matt came over and picked him up by his earlobes and was screaming in his face and spitting all over him because he was missing some teeth. Eventually, he broke away and ran to his car. And Matt lifted up the back of his car with the two wheels spinning like crazy, and he's holding the car in place.
That must be a very light car.
Yeah. Eventually, the cops came, and they maced and tased him. Mm. They took him to jail, where he told the cops, take the badges and the guns off and fight me like a man. He later ripped the sink out in the jail cell.
Don't do that. Don't do that. No, that's...
like some kind of Johnny Cash type shit. Or it reminded me of like the Dewey Cox thing, when they made fun of that by him ripping out every sink in the bathroom. Whenever he was depressed, he had to rip out a sink. Because Johnny Cash did that once and walked the line. Stripped of the beloved character he brought to life, Matt returns to the wrestling business. But the business has changed. No one cared about Big Josh or Maniac Matt Borne. They only wanted Doink. And that's true. When you're well known for a character, that's the character they want to see. They don't care about the other ones. They want to see the thing you're most famous for. And that's the harsh reality. Like, certain people can come back, it's like, no, we want this gimmick. Yep. We don't care about the other stuff you did back in the day. This is who we want, because this is the thing that everybody wants to see. Matt even takes his Doink character to the last place anyone would expect a clown. The violent renegade company known as Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Basically, Cokehead Spotlight.
ECW, yeah. Yep.
ECW. Were they bad?
No, they were sad.
Yay!
The fans had a love-hate relationship with the character. They hated it because it was Doink the Clown, but they loved it because it was Matt Borne. Because ECW, they didn't like circus gimmicks. They liked circus wrestling, but not circus gimmicks. They didn't want to see the cartoon shit. They didn't want to see the goofy crap. They hated Vince
They want to
McMahon.
see
They hated
barbed
Eric
wire.
Bischoff.
They wanted fire. They wanted tasers. I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys fucking suck. And look what
Exactly.
happened. You guys went out of business. Ha, Paul Heyman.
The character was called Born Again, but it was half Doink and half Matt. So that's why it was called Born Again. So it was partially Doink the Clown, but mostly Matt Borne. Vince owned the clown gimmick, so he sent legal papers ordering him to stop. But Doink never got residuals for dolls, videos, and other stuff that he never got a piece of, but was supposed to. So he countersues Vince for his residuals.
I think he wanted to, didn't he?
Vince then decides to make a settlement with Matt, where if he agrees to stop using Doink, he will get his residuals every month. So that's where they compromise, because Vince wanted him to cease and desist with Doink the Clown. But he's like, well, you owe me money for residuals, so I want them. And Vince is trying to avoid bad publicity and lawsuits. So he said, fine, stop using Doink the Clown, and I'll send you your residuals. And he did. So Matt said, all right.
Put it up his nose anyway. So
Yeah.
there you go.
As Matt struggles to rebuild his career, his home life is upended by the arrival of 2 more children. Matt saw them as a second chance to be a good father. He eventually gets clean and decides that he needs to get back in the business full time. Now he wants to get back in the ring. Now he wants to get clean because he got 2 kids. So now he's like, you know what? I need to get my shit together. And sometimes for most drug addicts, that's what it takes. They're children. That was the thing with Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
When his son Cody was born, he quit doing drugs. That combined with John Belushi's death helped him get clean.
Yeah.
Though striving to reclaim his glory in the wrestling industry, Matt's battle with addiction continues to threaten his aspirations. Though Matt struggles to be a good father and family man, his ongoing issues with drugs and alcohol make him unpredictable and dangerous. Michelle stood by his side and helped him. One time he accused of cheating and broke her nose, and beat her so bad she couldn't see for 2 weeks. So he accused her of cheating and did this. After he got out of jail and he looked at her, he said, "What happened to your face? Did I do that?" He didn't remember any of it. He broke down and apologized, and she forgave him.
I don't know if I would have been. You?
It's tough to say.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, obviously he got paranoid. He did something horrible. But I think she could clearly tell that A, he didn't remember it because he was fucked up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you could tell he had remorse for what he did. And also, if she forgave him, what am I going to be angry for? Their relationship. I mean, and I do believe that people can come back from shit like this if they're genuinely sorry.
Yeah.
Now, that's why they always say that, like, if he hits you once, he'll hit you again. Yeah, if the problem goes unsolved or if the guy doesn't care, then yeah. Mm-hmm. But if they get help, get fixed up, get anger management and everything else, I've seen people who are abusive turn their lives around. So it's doable. And I think if more people knew it was doable, then I think maybe they'd be able to help them more. But if you're not helping somebody who has a problem, they're just going to keep doing what the fuck they're doing.
Pretty much.
So clearly, he had remorse, and I think that's what helped. As Matt's drug use becomes even more extreme, his downward spiral intensifies. Michelle finally has enough and takes the kids and says, "Matt, I can't do this anymore. I have been here through thick and thin with you. I'm not taking anything with me. I am done." And he said, "I understand," and let her go. So she reached a point where she couldn't take it anymore. She gave him another chance. He blew it. So she left. And I think Matt just didn't even argue with her. Like, yeah, I suck. Strung out and landing at rock bottom, Matt's behavior in the ring becomes as unpredictable as his behavior at home. He was in Great Plains, New York, and was working a match with Jim Duggan. Jim goes over and says hi to him, and Matt says, "How about I come out and I hit you with a chair? You hit me with the 2x4. And Jim says, "Matt, there's 100 people out there, brother. I'll come out, I'll cheer USA, we'll have a nice walk and talk." Jim liked to keep things simple, and that worked for him, but Matt wanted more. They get in the ring, and Matt nails a nut shot and tries to hurt him for a shoot. Jim finally gets him in the corner and says, "Do you want to work, or do you want to shoot, brother?" And this is usually the moment in matches where you're giving somebody a chance to ease up. Because that's usually the rule. If someone starts throwing potatoes, or someone starts really hitting, they usually give you a warning, like, "Hey, brother, ease up, ease up." And after a certain point, if you don't ease up, you start getting hit for real. That's why Jim's asking him. We can either chill the fuck out and we can work and get through this, or we can shoot and one of us ends up dead.
Very nice.
How you want to do this? He rolls out of the ring, grabs a chair. So Jim grabs his 2x4 and he tells the referee to tell him they'll finish it in the dressing room like they're supposed to do. Because that's the rule. If you have a dispute with someone in wrestling, you don't get along with somebody or whatever, this is what you do. Take care of business in the ring and you work the match in the ring. Once you get back behind the curtain, if you still feel like you want to scrap, then you can have the shoot fight in the locker room or outside. That's where you do it. You don't shoot in the ring. That is a cardinal sin in the business. You don't shoot in the ring. You do business in the ring. You take care of your opponent. You do what you got to do. And you can go in the back, away from the fans, and have the real fight if you need to. That's where you settle it. Matt decides to leave the ring, go out the fire exit, get in his car, and leave. He had pre-planned to attack him because he still held a grudge for what happened in Monroe, Louisiana. So all these years later, when they're both on the indies, he still holds that same grudge from all those years in Mid-South. They're like old-ass men today. Mm-hmm. Or were at that time. This is like the 2010s, this shit is happening.
Yeah. Somebody's petty, but Vinny and I are both petty, so that's okay.
Well, not entirely. By 2013, Matt has moved to Plano, Texas, where he lives with a new girlfriend who he had met back in 1988 when she was a valet named Mean Nurse Cratchit.
You ever see her?
Never heard of her.
Never heard of her either.
Not heard of the show. But her shoot name was Connie Cook. They reconnected through Facebook in 2011.
Wow, all people know how to use Facebook. Shocker.
Well, yeah, nowadays in 2024, yes. Facebook is considered for old people.
Yeah, and it's easy to use. Fuck Twitter, no offense.
Well, that's why I've said, like, at the very least, everybody should have a Facebook page.
I have Facebook.
If you don't at least have a Facebook page, I consider that a red flag.
Well, I don't consider it really a red flag either.
I do. You need to be on social media in some capacity. You don't need to be on Twitter. You don't need to be on Instagram. You don't need to be on TikTok. Now, on the flip side, if a woman does not have a Facebook page, but she's got an Instagram and a TikTok and a Snapchat, dump her. That's a red flag. Because let me tell you something. You date a woman like that, your entire relationship is going to be selfies. The only good thing is you won't have to worry about her wanting to marry you because the only engagement she's interested in are likes, views, and comments. Just hit it, block the number, and thank me later. And immediately formed a relationship. Connie was stressing about her mom, and he invited her to live with them. He cooked for her and gave her her medicine. That's what Matt Borne's doing at this time. At home in Elwood, Michelle and Tegan are shocked to learn that Matt has passed. Tragic news confirmed by a phone call with Matt's girlfriend, Connie Cook. Connie says that Matt stole all her mom's drugs. The night before he died, he was on the phone with Michelle, and he said, Michelle, I called you because I'm leaving Connie. He said, if anything does happen to me, Michelle, don't let it go. Connie said he was moaning and wouldn't tell her why. He then dropped to his knees and said, marry me. And she's like, okay, you're really on my nerve right now. She believes he may have been having a heart attack. She said, I can't find my glasses. So she goes to get his glasses. That's when she noticed some of her mom's pills were missing. She said, those pills were from hospice. We're in trouble if you don't tell me where they are. Matt says, well, then I'll just go to jail. Later that night, this girl shows up saying they saw Matt laying on the ground outside and they think he's dead. Turns out he's not yet. They get him inside and she puts him on the recliner by the door. Apparently he was ODing and she didn't know it, so she went back to the bed. She could hear him snoring, so she thought everything was okay. According to Plano police reports, on the morning Matt died, Connie woke up at 6:30 a.m. and saw Matt gurgling and foaming at the mouth. After calling her friend, Connie went back to bed. And she called 911, and after getting off the phone with her friend, who told her that the noise Matt was making was a death rattle. They snatched him up and put him on the gurney, trying to get the hose down his throat, which was a struggle. They get him to the hospice where Connie is screaming for him to wake up, and they tried to make her leave, but she didn't want to because they were going to put him in the dark, and Matt hated the dark. The official cause of death was overdose of hydrocodone and morphine and enlarged heart.
I'll put those two together.
Connie believes Matt's heart issues were a secret he had kept for a very long time. Michelle and Tegan suspect foul play. They think she mixed the pills into his drink and left him in the recliner to die. However, an investigation by the Plano Police Department found no evidence of any criminal conduct. No evidence that Matt Borne was deliberately drugged with liquid morphine by Connie Cook, and no evidence of negligence in her response to Matt Borne's overdose. On June 28, 2013, Matt Borne, known to wrestling fans as Doink the Clown, dies. According to the autopsy, it was from an overdose of opiates. Tegan felt sympathy for her dad when she struggled with depression after her father's death. Matt gave more to the business than he got back, and his greatest enemy was his demons. He connected and he made a difference, whether it was as Doink the Clown in WWE or in the regional territories as Matt Borne.
He was talented, he was good in the ring. All in all, he was just dick. Hard to say, I would not be friends with somebody like him. I'll work with him. Maybe. Going to drink with him? Fuck no.
Well, yeah, when someone clearly has demons like that, you don't want to go drinking or partying with them.
Because I'll admit right now, I know I brought this up a lot. Like Vinny says, I drink too much, yes. I'm a little jackass, but I'm not violent. I'm not a violent person, no. I may be an idiot where you're like, Zach, just shut the fuck up. That's the part that all of a sudden I pass out and be like, Zach, I'm supposed to pay that during live streams or pay-per-view.
Yes. And also, of course, like I said, a lot of people thought that Connie was the issue here.
Or maybe she didn't know what was going on, maybe. Maybe she was trying to sing snoring. You snore, I snore.
Well, yeah.
Hear you
She
snore,
said that she didn't know he was ODing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, here's the thing, not everybody knows the signs of OD or drug problems. Like, it's hard for me to tell. Like, for example, there's times where a person can be fucked up and I don't know it because they're functioning drug addicts or functioning alcoholics. Like, for me to tell somebody's drunk, I need to see, like, Zach being belligerent.
Or like this. Yeah, you can definitely tell what they're like.
Thank you, Mr. Bean.
Oh, you're so very welcome.
I'm saying, like, somebody's like Zach being belligerent.
Yeah, sound like something like that.
That just sounds retarded. What I'm saying is, whether it's you being belligerent, or one of my exes who was literally falling all over herself, or, you know, somebody that's, like, clearly fucking out of it. That's when you're able to tell. Now, like they said, the police found no evidence of anything. And I doubt the police is rigging anything in this case.
No.
So, the whole thing is unfortunate. Now, they said that he was gurgling and foaming at the mouth, and that's when she called 911.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, so she called the police, told her friend, who told her to call the cops. I don't know why the fuck you called your friend first.
911.
So to me, that's probably the only thing Connie did wrong.
Yeah.
You call 911 when you see shit like that. Don't call your fucking friend. Call 911. If you want to call your friend after that, go ahead. But you call 911 before you do fucking anything. When you see shit like that. But he also said, I can't find my glasses. Or I need my glasses. So what are you going to do?
Look for your glasses.
You go look for the glasses. So Connie, to me, didn't do anything wrong there. Now he said that he was going to leave Connie. Whether Connie knew that or not, we don't know. And if that is the reason she killed him, then she's a fucking cunt.
But there's no proof of that.
Exactly. You know, it was like an over. It was
the daughter convinced that she did have something to do.
Of course.
Yeah. So did her brother did too.
And here's the thing: we can't say anything one way or the other.
Nope.
All we're saying is based off of what we heard and what we saw. At the end of the day, Doink the Clown was one of the best gimmicks in WWE.
Yeah, one of the best, not the best wrestler, but one of the best gimmicks ever.
Yes, and Matt Borne truly killed it as Doink.
Yeah.
Was an incredible worker. Cared about the business.
Yeah.
Just outside the ring, had his demons like every other wrestler. And again, moments like this should be the cautionary tales for younger people in the business of what not to do.
Pretty much.
And that's why most of them today, instead of being in the back doing drugs and drinking and shit like that, they're usually on their phones or playing video games or reading comic books, whatever other shit. Which
you still have a couple beers, just don't overdo it. Do what I do when I
some people are able to do it, some people aren't.
I go, you know me, I get a six-pack, I get my cigars, and I go the fuck home.
Yeah, but the thing is that you have to be mindful of how much you're taking when you drink, and also know when to do that shit and when not to do that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like after the show, if you want to go to the bar and have a couple drinks because you can control yourself, go ahead. But don't drink it in the locker room while sneaking it in a McDonald's cup because you need to be drunk in order to function, period. Chase Stevens. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude this recap of Boochcast Reviews, Darkside of the Ring. Zach, as always, thank you so much at a busy schedule to join us here, man. I appreciate it. And make sure you guys tune in next week because Zach will be back here again. We'll be back in the chairs because we're going to be talking about another great career. A wrestler that we knew he was popular, but we didn't realize how popular he was until we heard his history. And of course, we're talking about the one and the only, the Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
We're getting a Junkyard Dog next week.
Yeah.
Here on the Boochcast. So make sure you guys follow us on all of our podcast platforms. The link is down in the description box below. Follow us on our social media platforms. The link is down in the description box below. You can support the Boochcast. Go to podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/Boochcast/support. That link will be down in the description box below. Donate to the show. Help us keep the lights on. Help Zach continue to get his ramen noodles. Help us with everything else. You can do that through the web, through the site, through the link. And of course, as always, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Boochcast Reviews Darkside of the Ring, as well as other additional Boochcast YouTube content. We'll talk to you guys next time. Until then, pizza, baby!
Don't take candy from strangers in vans.
Not this crap again.